Welcome back to a new episode of the Shout at the Devils podcast. I'm your host, Justin Brady. I run Devils Fanatics on Instagram, and I'm here with my co-host, Daniel Amoia, who is a Devils beat reporter for the Hockey Writers. And the Devils are on a 6-game win streak. They are on an absolute heater right now. They are unstoppable, playing complete hockey, just a complete team effort over these last 6 games. Amazing stuff overall. And it's crazy to how the team struggled to get past that 4-game win streak, 5-game win streak over the last 3 years. And now they have basically doubled that by getting 6 wins in a row. So pretty impressive stuff overall. During this 6-game win streak, the Devils have averaged 4.2 goals per game. They've averaged 2 goals against per game. Their power play percentage is 33%. The penalty kill is perfect, 100%, 21 for 21. We talked about the penalty kill last episode. It has continued to be amazing. And their goaltending save percentage over this stretch is .924, which is amazing. So, Daniel, what are your thoughts from this overall stretch and these last 2 games where the Devils won both of them?
I mean, complete team effort is all you can say to describe it. They just look bought in. And this is where sometimes I don't always feel like analytics or advanced analytics are the best representation of what's going on the ice, because the analytics have honestly not been that great for the Devils. Like, they've been solid, but nothing that says they should be like a quote unquote wagon. But you look at them on the ice, they're buying in. Their forecheck's been incredible, and obviously penalty kill's a big part of their overall success. That facet's been amazing. There's just it seems like everything they've done has just worked out. There's really nothing going wrong for them right now. And obviously that's not going to be the case over an 82 game season. There's going to be lulls, but they just look so much more bought in. So so many positive signs. But the biggest thing for me is finishing, and that does show up a bit on the analytics. The Devils last season, I believe, finished, it was around like 28 goals below expected. If you extrapolate that, take everything else from the whole season, injuries, etc., aside, underperformance from the bottom six, if they finished at a league average rate and scored 28 more goals, you extrapolate that out the rest of the season, they're still probably one of the better teams in the NHL. And that just speaks to how good their top talent is, Meyer, Bratt, Hughes, etc., Heischer. So now they are finishing well above average. And if that kind of comes to the mean and they could just finish at a league average rate the rest of the season with the talent they have, and if they're relatively healthy, the Devils are going to be a wagon. I truly believe that. And again, it's still early. We've seen teams have absolute heaters and then just not be good the rest of the season. Not saying that's going to happen. We saw the Edmonton Oilers a couple years back look like the San Jose Sharks look now for the first 3-ish weeks. And then we're basically the best team in hockey the rest of the way. So you don't want to get too high or too low at any given point. And Sheldon Keefe said something similar the other day at practice, that sometimes the media just needs stuff to talk about. He doesn't even fully believe that this team has matured yet. He thinks they've taken steps there, but there's still a long way to go. Because again, not even 10% done with the season right now. But yeah, there's just so much you have to like. Depth scoring is a huge thing. Obviously, that's something they didn't get last season. So the Devils are, I said last episode, are in a much better spot to become a wagon and overcome their issues than they were last season. And even compared to the 22-23 season, that 13-game win streak, maybe it's recency bias. I could have some recency bias, but this team feels like they're less fluky, if that makes sense. It seems like they're just gelling really well. It's not like they're just finding random ways to win. It's like surprising. But then again, maybe it is surprising. Like Brendan Dillon's not going to play like Cale Makar the rest of the season. Dawson Mercer, even though very good player, may not finish at a point per game pace. So we'll see how that all kind of finishes out. But regardless, there's just so many good signs. The Devils are bought in. And I just want to quickly add the back-to-backs. I mean, the Devils over the past 2 seasons on the second half of back-to-backs were 6-19-3. I mean, in a recent ESPN article said that the average points percentage in the second half of a back-to-back is still 507. The Devils was around like, I think it was like 260 or something like that. that obviously can't happen. If you look back to the 22-23 season, what was the major difference? In those scenarios, the Devils were 9-3 on the second half of back-to-backs. Preparation is a huge thing, and the Devils looked prepared against the Minnesota Wild, something they really didn't after a back-to-back on the second half of a back-to-back at all last season or the season before that. So that goes a big way. The fact that they essentially outplayed and dominated the pace of play against a fresh Minnesota team, and this is the Minnesota Wild with Kirill Kaprizov, Marco Rossi, I mean, a ton of studs, and the Devils just they were the better team even though they were fatigued. I mean, that was just super impressive. I certainly was not expecting that given how back-to-backs went last season for them, so I think that was a pleasant surprise if you're a Devils fan or if you're on the Devils, and if they're gonna play like that kinda effort on second half of back-to-backs, they're in a really, really good spot. So, overall, obviously, just so much to like right now.
Hell yeah. This is the first time the Devils have won both games in a back-to-back since February of 2024. So they didn't win both games of a back-to-back in all of last season. So it's been a minute since they've done that, but they've won both of these last two games in convincing fashion. I keep saying that. Like, they're controlling these games, dominating the pace of play. The like special teams, just pure domination out there. Like, just amazing stuff overall. And I want to touch on the goaltenders. You touched on like the goal scoring already. Jake Allen, 3-0 this season so far, 1.91 goals against average, 931 save percentage. Amazing. Nico Dogs, who's your third goalie in the depth chart, comes in, makes 29 out of 30 saves, made some really amazing highlight reel saves out there to prevent any bleeding from happening because the Wild scored a goal in the third period, and it looks like the Wild was trying to make a run, trying to make it a close game, but Nico Dawes wasn't allowing any of it, and he shut the door down. Impressive stuff overall that you have three goalies that, you know what, you can feel like, all right, I feel comfortable with them starting tonight, and that's the situation that the Devils are in, and it's a good situation to be in, most definitely. Um, Unfortunately, Cody Glass did not play yesterday. He was out with an upper body injury. We do not know a timeline on him. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. Hopefully, he's back soon. But in other good news, Stefan Nason was back in the lineup, so that's always a plus to have Nason, especially on the power play. He's a great front net presence, so I'm sure he's going to have an immediate impact on this team very shortly. And then also, it's just amazing. I know you touched on the goal scoring. I just want to add to it. Brat, 11 points in 7 games. Jack Hughes, 9 points in 7 games. Timo Meyer, 7 points in 7 games. Dawson Mercer, 7 points. Nico Hischier, 6 points. Gritsuk, 5 points. Luke Hughes, 5 points. Like, that's what, seven guys I just listed there that are playing exceptionally well right now. I could say elite level for some of them, right? It's good when your top players are playing good, but it's also nice when you're getting that secondary scoring, like Norris Trophy future finalist Brendan Dillon scoring 2 goals in back-to-back games. Like, who could see that coming? But it's nice that you're getting those contributions from other players. Like, other guys are stepping up to the plate. It's nice to see Paul Cotter get on the board, his first goal of the season there. I think you tweeted something about it, Daniel. What did he say after the game?
Cotter, he was like, "About time, Jesus." Like, he just looked so fed up, and I mean, the guy works his tail off, so it was nice to see him get rewarded for sure.
Most definitely. And then we got to talk about Arseny Grisuk getting his first NHL goal on that beautiful one time where you like kind of like dove out and just an absolute snipe past the goalie. And it was just so nice to see the team like really just embrace that moment. Luke Hughes gets the puck immediately. I love that. And you could just tell everyone's so happy for him. Everyone's posting on their Instagram story about him scoring the first goal. It feels like a united group right now, and everyone's buying in to what Sheldon Keefe and management are really telling them. So they look really good, and it's just they gotta keep it up. Obviously this win streak is going to come to an end. Obviously, maybe they can get to 13. Who knows? I don't want to push their luck, but with the way they're playing, it's definitely reasonable to say like, oh, there's a chance they could do it. But yeah, just got to keep this type of play up. But pretty impressive stuff overall. can't complain about anything.
Yeah, you have to be especially happy for Gritsuk, but these are the type of things that happen when your team's just going well and everything seems to work. Timo Meyer was in the face-off circle. Noted face-off taker, Timo Meyer. That was sarcasm, obviously. And he perfectly wins the draw clean right to Gritsuk. I mean, it's just that's what I said in the beginning of the episode. Everything the Devils touch is turning to gold or goals. And that's exactly what happened. Arseny Gritsuk with the one-timer. Here's the call from Matt Laughlin on the radio.
Off the draw, Gritsuk scores! Arseny Gritsuk with his first National Hockey League goal. It comes mere seconds after the start of the power play, and the 24-year-old Russian has given the Devils that 3-goal lead.
Now, I don't want to bring the vibe down. They're super high right now, but I also do want to add that at the Christmas break last year, all everyone was talking about was the vibes and how much fun the Devils are having. And Sheldon Keefe going into the Christmas break said, I absolutely love coaching this team. It's been an absolute pleasure, like, just talking about them like they were and they deserved that. They were phenomenal, and then everyone forgets about that, or at least blocks it out of their mind once the team starts skidding afterwards, so you still can't get too high, but at the same time, like I've said many times, the Devils are in a much better spot to sustain that success when maybe they weren't last season. You look at Stefan Nason was a key part of that start last season. He hasn't even played so far. Evgeny Dadonov, who can be an absolutely very important depth piece. He has not he played a few minutes of game 1 and that was it. Jonathan Kovacevic, massive part of the start last season. He has not played a game yet and will not for a while. And yet they're still playing like an absolute wagon. And I know you mentioned the depth scoring. I was looking back to the 2014-15 Devils. They had two players score 34 or more points. The Devils right now have about 12 players on pace for that. It's really crazy. I mean, just the amount of scoring they're getting, and not to say the 2014-15 Devils were a good team anyway, but at the same time, like 2 players compared to 12 scoring 34 or more points, and I'm not saying the Devils are gonna finish with that. Like guys like Brendan Dillon are on that pace, but at the same time, even last season, the Devils had 8 such players. So the scoring, it's there. Their power play can be elite, and it certainly, I would say, has been so far. And then the penalty kill. I mean, Ryan Novozinski said it last night. The penalty kill can legally order a drink now, 21 in a row. I mean, that's pretty remarkable stuff. It's almost like I mean, since game 1, they're still outscoring their opponents shorthanded 2-1. Or yeah, this season 2-1. So you almost think yeah, in all honesty, the Devils are in the box way too much. Like they have been shorthanded way, way, way too many times. And again, last night, I can't really think of a night where they haven't been able to stay out of the box. But at the same time, they're almost better shorthanded than they are at even strength right now. It's pretty crazy to be outscoring a team almost 10% of the way into the season, to be outscoring teams when you're shorthanded. I mean, and a lot of that credit goes to Bradshaw. The players have absolutely loved him. He has done a lot of work. He's one of the more well-liked coaches that's been around the league. He's a very transparent person. I know players feel very comfortable communicating with him. He's known to be very aggressive, but smartly on the penalty kill, and we're seeing that firsthand here. When Bradshaw and by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Bradshaw is one of the new assistant coaches the Devils brought on board in the offseason. When Bradshaw was with the Vancouver Canucks, he took time out of a practice. The team started slow, and it was a practice that fans were allowed to come. He took time after the practice to start discussing team philosophies with the fans. That's something that's super respectable and just genuine down to earth guy that the players have absolutely loved. Sheldon Keefe told me that Shaw really fits their coaching staff really well and meshes well with everyone. And we're seeing that in the penalty kill and even the team defense. I mean, aside from the Carolina game, they've been a lot better. And that brings me, I know I'm rambling right now, but that brings me to one final point that everyone talks about the Carolina game, the hurdle they have to overcome. I think everyone's forgetting that the Devils were down to 11 forwards that game, so it might not be an exact representation. Game 1, still trying to find your legs and down to 11 forwards with Dadonov out. But also, the Devils almost took that. Like, it's not like they got blown out. The final score is not a good representation of that game. It was 3-3 with what, 3 minutes left to go, 4 minutes. That game was just one bad bounce away from going to overtime, and the Devils are on a 7-game point streak to start the season. So, yes, obviously I get why it would be frustrating when it's been a constant that the Devils just can't beat Carolina in their barn. But I think this stretch has kind of earned them some benefit of the doubt, and I think the Devils are going to be super hungry when they're in Carolina again because they came oh so close to pushing that to overtime and maybe stealing 2 points there. So I really don't think that, what was it? I think 6-3 final score was super representative of the effort the Devils gave that night, especially down a forward. And I think with this start now that narrative could possibly change in the future because this Devils team, I mean, they look really good.
Most definitely. I love that you have the 24-15 team because I believe that year, or it might have been like the year before or after, I think the Devils' leading scorer that season was Adam Henrique with like 43 points. And like stuff like that really, like it makes you appreciate as a fan now the team that you have because you have guys scoring. You have like 8, 9 guys scoring over 40 points every season now. So it's cool to see how far they've come as an organization. But looking forward, so they had the San Jose Sharks at home on Friday. So that's I don't know if people believe in a trap game, but if there's a trap game, this is it right here. The Sharks have not won a game this season, and they have had the Devils' number over the last few years. You cannot deny that. The Sharks swept the Devils last season. The Sharks have won the last 2 games at the Prudential Center. And look, I know the Devils are a different team now than they were, but the Sharks team is going to be hungry. They want to get their first win. They have to be more hungry than the Devils. They have to be because they cannot afford another loss here. I believe. Yeah, they lost to the Islanders on Tuesday. They play the Rangers tonight. And so they're going to be on the second half of a back-to-back. So the Devils will have a slight advantage there. We'll see if the Rangers are a horrible home team right now, so something has to give there. But the Devils have broken a lot of curses, as I was saying last episode. Like they broke the Sheldon Keefe curse of not being able to beat Toronto. They're scoring their first goal in the game now. They've won both games in a back-to-back. They've won more than 3 games in a row. So they've broken a lot of curses that have been kind of floating around the team over the last few years. This is another curse, the San Jose Sharks. Can they break the San Jose Sharks curse? I most definitely think they can. They're more than capable of it, but it's not going to be easy. No, any game in the NHL is not easy. And then after that, they finish the homestand against Colorado, one of the best teams in the league. And then they have a back-to-back with Colorado. So they go to Colorado's barn and they begin a long 4-game road trip on the West Coast. So it's going to be interesting coming up with the Devils. A lot of tough teams coming up that the Devils are going to have to face. But it starts with San Jose, win on Friday, and then you're up to a 7-game win streak and then Colorado, and then you're going into a road trip feeling very like if they have a lot of momentum going into that road trip, but that does a lot of wonders for them. So we'll see what happens. But Daniel, any last thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to add the Sharks are on a 17-game losing streak dating back to last season. So I mean I feel bad for them at this point. You saw head coach Ryan Warsofsky say he'd give up his children for a win. I mean, it's just dire times in San Jose, and they're a talented team. So that's the thing. I kind of think back to the 21-22 Devils where they weren't a good team on paper, and standings wise, they were not very good, but they could blow out a team on any given night based on pure talent. You still had Jesper Bratt going around, Jack Hughes. I mean, that's how the Sharks are. Celebrini, Will Smith, Michael Misa. Maybe they'll get Gavin McKenna one day added to that mix, but they're a team that you cannot take lightly, and we saw that um the past 2 seasons when the Sharks come to the Rock. So especially if they end up losing to the Rangers. They're going to have a lot of pride on the line. They don't want their streak to extend to 19, especially knowing that they have a chance to break up a team's winning streak and a building that they've been able to overperform in recent seasons. You cannot take the San Jose Sharks lightly. I watched when they played the Islanders. Even though the Islanders won, the Sharks outshot the Islanders by like 15. And I mean, they were buzzing offensively. Just their goaltending and defense is beyond horrendous. But all it takes is a quick lead, and maybe their defense locks in a little bit, and the Devils are fighting the game, which is what we've seen for a lot of these Devils Sharks games. So yeah, just can't take them lightly whatsoever. But the Devils are in a very good spot regardless. And it's kind of a test. Like, okay, you're beating all these playoff teams, but it's been a bit of a bugaboo against these bottom teams. They're not able to show up against them, maybe take them for granted a little bit. And if that narrative could flip as well, I mean, I would almost call games like the Sharks game must wins, because it really should be. On paper, it's pretty obvious the Devils are the better team. You need to get those standings points when they're available, and you can't leave them out the window. So regardless, so many good signs with the Devils. As a reporter, obviously outcome of the game doesn't matter, but it is enjoyable covering a winning streak, just seeing the vibe, seeing how happy the players are. It really does make a difference in terms of our daily operations, and it makes the job more enjoyable, makes everyone smile and stuff like that. So we'll see if the Devils could extend it to 7, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did, because this team has shown me a lot. They're really bought in right now.
They are. There's nothing bad to say about the team. Like, there's really nothing that you could, like, if you say anything bad about them, you're like nitpicking at that point. Like, they are playing a complete game right now. You can't say otherwise. Looking forward to these last 2 home games, and we'll have an episode probably after Sunday's home game against the Avalanche as they head into their road trip. But yeah, I appreciate all your guys' support. If you have any feedback, please drop it in the comments. Anything you guys would like to see, just let us know. And until next time, peace out.
Peace.